formal sex work. And because of that, it's like, I have to instead of me just saying, I got into sex work because I like sex and I like money, wasn't enough. Even though it should be enough. Because it's my body, I don't need no other reason other than to want to do it. But when I was younger, I felt like I needed a reason to justify it to other people. So it could be maybe like a moral excuse. Well, I was trying not to be homeless. I got to see my brother and I was trying not to be homeless, and this is what it led to. That wasn't a lie. It was the truth. Literally. It was literally the truth. But also the truth is I didn't have to stay being a sex worker. Part of that was it was easy. Part of it is, honey, I made $350 turn. What? And the first weekend that I was turning tricks, I made $3,500 in 3 days. And at that time of my life, I had never made that much money that quick. I remember when my mama was getting tax checks during tax season, and she was getting $2,700, $1,200, and those checks was like, oh, this is big money. We can go do this and that. In my old school mind, before I became an adult and had other opportunities, and you know what I'm saying, that was big money. And so me making in 3 days, like from the nighttime, from Friday to Sunday, making $3,500, I had never made that much money that quickly, and it wasn't a lot of work. I didn't have to spend 8 hours at Wendy's. At this time, my only reference was fast food because I was a teenager and that's all I worked. So I didn't have to stand on my feet in that fucking uniform taking people orders for days and days and days and days and days just to have a check that was $250 or something, whatever it was. Because I think at the time I made about either $7 an hour or $8 an hour at the restaurant. I think $7.25. And I think when I went to rallies, I was like at $8.25. So yeah, when I was at Wendy's, I was like $7.25. Yeah, it was just crazy. I just was working fast food and thinking that was like, oh, I got this check. But then I have, which is crazy because I remember when I lived in my apartment was $315 a month. So I was able to pay my light bill and my rent. Like one check will go to my rent and one check will go to my light bill. And then I could buy groceries for a month for like less than $100. Like for a whole month, I could buy groceries for like $80, $100 for myself, just one person. It used to be a whole different time. I know I sound old, but that was in the 90s. That was 97, 98. And so one bedroom, one bath, not a studio, like literally a separate bedroom, dining room, living room. Like, I think it was like 810 square feet for $315 a month. It was wow. Anyway, so imagine and I had worked from the time I was 13. So it wasn't like I was 23. So in this 10 years, my idea of working was going to work, clocking in, and you work for 4 to 8 hours doing whatever cashier job, grill job, whatever you was working, fast food, and yeah, and then they always have you as a cat.
Now's the time to go back in time and shine a light on the family journey that led.
Imagine me doing that and making these $200, $300 checks for a week or 2 weeks of work, and then bam, in 3 days I make $3,500. It's hard to go back to doing regular jobs. It's really difficult. It was really difficult for me because imagine you like, okay, I'm not gonna be a hoe no more, and then you go to your job and they're paying you $8 an hour, and you sitting there for 4 hours for $8 an hour, and somebody is literally calling your phone, talking about, I got $350 for you to see me. And you know it's only going to take 10, 15 minutes. What would you choose? It's like, especially it's different if you ain't never been a hoe, but if you already been a hoe, it's like, oh, it's like, who would say no? Unless it just was something you just didn't want to do anymore. But yeah, it was so easy. And so yeah, so there's that. And I remember having used to have the feeling of having to explain why I got into sex work. But then as I got older, I was like, I don't need no reason. I liked it. If you ask me the deeper reason, sure, in the beginning, but I didn't stay a hoe for 5 years because I was in survival mode. I was in survival mode at first, but then I wasn't. I was in, oh, this is easy fucking money. The easiest, especially when you start to travel and go to other cities and people's flying you out for $10,000 and $5,000 and you see one client for $10,000. Remember this dude flew me to Florida, and that was the easiest fucking $10,000 I had ever made. Easiest. All I gotta do is spend the night with you, and I ain't even got to spend the whole night because he got me a room, came to see me, and then honey, he was done. He was done. I mean, the ticket, it was just so fire. The easiest money. And so then you traveling and building your clientele. So each time, and also how travel and escorting works is dope because you come to a city, you see dudes, and when you come back to the city, you're in the hopes that you had a good time with the ones that you saw before. They come back to see you the next time you come, and you get new clients. So you keep building your not portfolio, but you keep building your clientele. And so each time you come to the city, boom, the money gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger each time you come. And so if you're doing that to all these major cities, your pockets is fat. It's love. So there's that. So there's the easiestness of the money and the easiestness, and then the feeling. Hmm.
What's out there?
Hmm.
What's out there? Oh, oh, I see. Oh, I see. That's what you smell. That's what y'all smell. Move. Move. I see you. Lucky I can't go out there. Move! Move! What you doing? What you doing?
So everybody has different schedules, but they're coming to see me over and over and over and over.
There's a stray cat
paying me
outside of my
top dollar
patio,
without
y'all.
question. And this is in the
I
heyday
feel
of
so bad.
escorting, so it was easy, particularly with the trans girls because we were all at one spot. We're either in the paper or we were on the internet on Craigslist and eRoll. So you couldn't just go find us on anywhere. So it was very, very streamlined to get to us. You got to pay to play. Now you got the free hoes. You got the hoes that's free, just giving up sex. Oh, I'm not a sex worker. I have sex for myself. I have a job, and you got bitches fucking for free. You got the butch queens dressing up in drag just to make a coin. So they have ruined the market. There's so many girls just running around the streets and being out in the open, which is a beautiful thing. It's not that it's naked, but not that it's negative. Not that it's negative, but it's just a different time that we are in. But back then, if you were into trans girls, it was only a couple of places you could find us. You can find us at the gay club. You can find us online in the sex worker stuff or in the newspaper. Rarely are you seeing chicks just running around the streets. They are, but they not in the way that we are now. They ain't at Starbucks and Bath and Body Works and here. You ain't just running. You weren't just running into them like we do now. There was a particular place, and online it was most of the time the sex worker. It was the route. So if you didn't have that $300, that $150, $200, $250, $300 to play, especially if she was a bad bitch, you wasn't getting a hold of her. So you getting that amount of money an hour was easy at this time. It was nothing for me to ask for $300 and a nigga bring me $300. It was nothing. But now, child, I hear the girls is having a hard time getting 100 or 50. On the internet now, the joke is the going rate is $40. The going rate was not $40 back in my day. At the risk of sounding like an old hoe. But back in my day, $300 and tip. Amen. But $40 being the going rate for some whole activities.
Girl, bye. I wish you would.
40? that was like back in my day, $40 was like postro money. Like when you on the street, like the dope fiends and the heroin addicts and the old hoes that be working the corner in fur coats and shit from the 70s that's still on the track in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Them really low class hoes that, you know, they're over the hill. Bad bitches ain't charging no $40. That's just, I don't know what's going on with the girls today, but that's not what it was when I was coming up. They call half hour back in our day, flat rate was an hour. Yeah. My birth mother was a sex worker in the 60s, and she said the money would pull in all the time. Yeah, it just was a different it just was a different time. So an element for me is imagine the world. Okay, now mind you, this is in the earlier part of my transition. You know, the world is telling me that you ain't never gonna be a girl. You ain't never, you know, some people was telling me I'm never gonna respect you as a woman. You know, they're just doing a lot of, the world is just telling you you are not enough. But these men is coming in with their hard-earned money and saying, you the most beautiful thing that I ever seen. Here. You deserve my money. Here you go. You are, oh my God. Stay just like you are. I like your body how it is. Ooh, or you get a little bit, either that, or you get a little bit of advancement. You know, you get your titties done a little bit. You get some silicone and they a little bit bigger. And he comes seeing you. Oh God. Oh, and he just made the upgrade seem like,
all Domino's mini price pizzas are half off when you order online. This week only, order now. Join Planet Fitness today and save. Just $1 down, $15 a month.
getting bigger titties. Oh, I don't care how many titties you get, you're still gonna be a man. It's the world, the outside world is still shitting on you, but the clients, they giving you your life, giving you your life. And as a young person, it's hard. Now, you know, now that you're older, you're like, oh, them niggas tell you anything. But they ain't really telling you anything. You are getting more sickening than you were when you started. That's just really what it is. You are advancing in your womanhood because you're getting things done. You're getting softer. You're getting more voluptuous. You're getting better. You're getting better hair, getting better makeup technique. You are literally getting better. So they're not just shooting smoke up your ass. They literally are just appreciating your advancement. That's really what it was. And so as you get older, for me, as you get older in the game, it gave me a certain level of confidence. Whether they were selling me a dream or not, I was advancing. And they were appreciating it. And they didn't have to spend their money. I knew bitches who wasn't making as much money as I was. So clearly they like what they see. And for me, there was something that went off in my brain, even in my personal life, that if these niggas can value me, nigga, you who I'm messing around with for free, nigga, you gon' step up to the motherfucking plate in other ways. So if I want to be taken out to the movies, taken out on a date, treat it like I got some sense, and you not talking to me any kind of way, and blah, 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 blah. It's something about sex work that gave me the confidence to be like, you have value, and you determine how people treat you. Because even with clients, even though y'all spending money, you gonna come in this motherfucking house and you're gonna touch me how I want to be touched. You're going to talk to me how I want to be talked about. Make the rules in this motherfucker. Even though you paying, still make the rules of engagement. And so it gave me the confidence to not just do that in my um, in my regular life. So even to this day, as I stopped doing formal sex work in 2009, even to this day, um, I just can't comprehend some dude just telling me how he gonna treat me or treat me any kind of way. Like I literally will cut a nigga off so fast. Like nigga, you got me fucked up. And that's what gaining weight. That's what being. Nothing made me feel like I was not worthy of, because ain't no way you gonna be trying to get into my draws and not treat me how I want to be treated. That's just what it is. Because if I'm not worth it, then take your ass to somebody else. And having that, for me, being a sex worker and having that confidence kind of put the sex work kind of gave me that confidence to have that kind of, yeah, that boss bitch mentality. Like, yo, I'm the boss. I'm worth it. And you're not just doing this because you're not doing me a favor with being with me or, offering your dick. Girl, get out of here. Niggas pay me. So, because imagine, and another myth that people think about sex work is that all of your clients are either ugly, old, are some of them ugly, sure. Are some of them old, sure. But there are also some fine ass ones too. Fine. Fine, many, and not that, you know what I'm saying. It's all walks of life: young, old, fine, unattractive, slim, tall, big. It's so many different types, and so there's so many clients that are fine as hell. So if this dime piece model looking dude can come pay me $300, yo, dusty, broke, thugged out, street nigga.
Yes, my bitch earned a raise.
Why I'm gonna let you come and treat me kind of way or talk to me any kind of way? No, get the fuck out of here. You want to spend time with me for free? I can spend that time with somebody and get paid. You want to spend some time for free? You gonna talk to me like you gonna give me the princess treatment, and that's what it is. So it just gave me a certain level of confidence just by the sheer fact that these dudes was boosting my ego.
Some people are just cut out for the lifestyle because they have the right cocktail of skills, emotional capacity, sexual openness, experience, and circumstance. I fully believe that because the whole shit was definitely in me.
What a day. Huh. Yeah, you'd see. Present. Bajilja. Santa Hoy. Yuck. Skeeves. What? Denied.
Yups.
Zimbabwe. Denied.
Noise.
I didn't have any of the moral hang-ups that lead people to turn their noses up at hoes. I was street smart, could sense danger, and knew how to keep my cool under pressure. I knew how to finesse. Most important, the timing was right. I needed the money and was more than willing to perform all kinds of different versions of femininity when I knew there was cash waiting for me at the end of the tunnel.
Ah, the cop.
All of this was true for me before I ever consciously engaged in any kind of transactional sex. And together, they were the...
My name is Balin, and I have Tourette syndrome.
Ringlar.
Balin has one of the more severe cases.
I love her for her.
Oh, hell It's a change right now. In the early odds, doing something strange for a piece of change was how you talked about hoeing if you weren't trying to actually be mean-spirited or whorephobic. It was meant to be cheeky, but she didn't laugh when she said it, and she cast her eyes away from us as the words left her mouth. It was clear that deep down she meant every word. She just wasn't sure how we'd react. But she would get no judgment here. Instead, she was met with a chorus of, "Shit, me too," from myself and other friends.
Shit.
None of us were laughing either. We didn't know how to do it, but we knew we were down to do it, and we were emboldened by the circle of trust we built. Our first idea was to see if one of us could win an amateur night prize at a local strip club we visited before, and we'd all split the prize money. A few weeks later, the four of us piled into Sandy with our bags packed, ready to cross state lines for a quick come-up. When we arrived at the club, my friends who were going to compete waited before they signed up. It was a smart move because after watching the first few contestants go up, we realized they weren't amateurs at all. These dancers were professionals from other strip clubs who had the same idea to make us stack. Our friends' chances of winning were slim. None of us wanted to let the night go to waste, though. We chilled in the spot, enjoying free drinks and bomb-ass fried chicken. Fun fact, a strip club is only as good as the fried chicken it serves. Some guys who had been eyeing our crew since we walked in were taking care of the tab. We huddled together and decided that we could take our chances on a more personalized lick. There were four of us. We had one another's back, and these dudes looked pretty harmless. So we offered them the opportunity for a private show back at their place and got them out of the club before they blew any more money on strippers. At their two-bedroom apartment in a forgettable complex, my homegirls proved that they were not amateurs at everything. I made sure everyone was okay and held on to the money until it was time to go. It wasn't nearly as much as we hoped we'd make on our little come-up trip, and Sandy smelled like Badissi for the whole trip home, but we still get a damn good laugh out of it. Badissi describes the specific aroma that results from the meeting of butt, dick, and pussy. None were the hustlers or hoes we would eventually become, but we certainly made some good memories. I would hardly consider this my formal introduction to sex work, but it was definitely what got the ball rolling. As it turns out, my friends were with the whole shit, but they didn't need the money as much as I did, and they weren't as curious about exploring their own sexual politics like I was. So I kept going while they stayed at the ready. I dove headfirst into research and found that my new side hustle was just a few pics and a couple of clicks on the internet away. I posted my first ad, and that's how the nerdy white guy ended up in my crib, getting a massage with a happy ending. If we're being technical, the answer to the question, how did you get into sex work, is the internet. Anyone with a phone can snap some pictures of themselves, decide on an hourly rate, and put it all on a relevant website or forum with their contact information. It was decidedly easier before the extremely harmful SEPTA, Stop Enabling Sex Traffickers Act, was passed in 2018. But back when I started, it was as simple as that. There were plenty of resources available to anyone who had the time to do some internet sleuthing on which sites would be best to market and advertise their services, figure out pricing, and what language to use in ads. To actually learn the ropes and navigate this world, though, I had to get to know other women in the industry. My first attempts at joining the community of professional dominatrices, which I thought would be a safer bet legally, were unsuccessful. As ridiculous as it sounds, there's a bit of whorephobia even within sex work. Sometimes providers who offer only visual and audio sensory services, like phone sex operators, cam girls, and strippers who abide by no contact rules, think they're better than those who offer more. And some of the providers who offer contact services, like kink providers and erotic massage givers, think they have a moral high ground over sex workers who provide full service, or sex, to their clients. And even among full-service providers, there is elitism from those who work online at higher rates and with privileged backgrounds toward those who work the streets, who have pets, those struggling with addiction, or those who work at low rates and under riskier circumstances to ensure their own survival. In many ways, this internal whorephobia has merged with the purism of some BDSM practitioners, and the result is a strong wariness toward folks who are interested in making money in the lifestyle. Many pro-doms build their professional reputations on the fact that they've been part of the lifestyle in a non-professional capacity first, and they tend to be suspicious of newbies, especially young Black women stepping onto the scene.
All right, so let's talk about that. So I think that what she described with her friends, them kind of building a trust with each other and then out here hustling, trying to turn some tricks. I thought that was a beautiful way to kind of be introduced. You have the safety of your friends, y'all doing what y'all want to do, how y'all want to do it, blah, 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 blah. So I thought that was a beautiful moment. Mine was, I don't want to say similar to that, but it was kind of like, not kind of like that. Mine was different. But it was a friend connection. um, my first formal stuff, like with that had to do with ads and in the paper and shit. I was really turning my homegirl's tricks while she was at work. For the first week prior to having she basically was a drag queen. She had clients calling her while she was at her job performing. She was on cast at a club, at a drag club. And so what her mindset was, if I let you do the tricks, you give me a percentage, and I'll and I'll I would like you to build this something boundless, something new.
The Brutalist is a great American masterpiece.
What do you think? It's unusual, even for you.
A monumental achievement. Perfect.
An hour, and I would give her 50. So 200 was for me, 50 was for her. Each trick I had, from her, because they would call her, and she was in the knee. I was like pimping for real, for real, for real. But I don't like that dynamic of a middleman, of a middle person. I like to make all my money, baby. But because I was new to the game and didn't know about advertising and didn't know nothing, this was my way to get into the game because I didn't know. But I pay attention and I ask questions, and I was asking clients what was the tea with shit, like where did you find me at? And so when they would come, I would ask them questions. And so they told me about the paper that they had called her from. And so I went to the office of the paper. And so with the money that I had made that first couple of days with her, I went and paid for my own ad. So the next weekend, my ad was up in the paper the next weekend. And I still was taking her dates, which is why in that weekend I made so much money because I had my own ad in the paper and I was still taking her dates and giving her 50 and still giving her $50 from the cut.
Oh, but I have ice cream.
But on ad up. And it wasn't until she went and got a copy of the paper and she saw my ad up that she started acting funny, like, oh, nah, I ain't about to send you no more dates because I didn't know you had an ad up. Da, 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 da. She felt some kind of way about me having an ad because she was hiding the information from me, which I also thought was petty and stupid. But, it's business, and you adding another girl to the mix. And it hurts your coins. Especially in a small city like Indianapolis, because that's where I was living. It's only gonna be a couple of girls in the papers anyway. So it's not a big ass city. And then narrow it down to the people who are into black girls. It only gonna be a little bit of black girls. So it just was the competition was steep, honey. And so as soon as I put my ad up, I'm the new girl. I got good pictures. I look good. And so I was pulling bitches' coins. Bitches was calling and playing on my phone. and so that's how I started in regards to that. I didn't have any aversion. At the time, I didn't have street home. So I didn't have any judgment because I didn't know what went on. I thought that they was making a lot of money too. Until I went down there and they were saying that they were trying to trick $50, $40, $60, $20 for everything. I was like, okay, let me go back to E-Rose, internet, and Craigslist. And so when I was starting, you had Craigslist, you had E-Rose, you had the paper. So Craigslist, E-Rose, you always can have a number. The clientele from there was just a little bit more upscale. Craigslist was Craigslist. The beauty about Craigslist is because everybody was on that motherfucker. That's the thing about it. Everybody, like trans girls, cis girls, gay boys, everybody was on that motherfucker. So you can set the fucking, you can set it to where you just seeing pictures and you see everybody. You click it and you mixed in with the females, you mixed in with you mixed in with everybody. So it's really just, does your pictures look appealing? So you getting first timers, you getting celebrities, you getting all walks of life. You are getting all walks of life from Craigslist. Now your price range ain't as high, but it ain't low either. So so for example, you on Eros you could charge like $300-400, but on Craigslist it's gonna be like 150, 250, and so where it's easy to get that, and so because it's so many people, but that was kind of like 150, 250 was kind of like the going rate. Yeah, so it wasn't any kind of the way that she described the judgment is totally, and she's totally telling the truth. But at my age at that time, I didn't have any kind of qualms about street home because I thought they were making the same amount of money. I didn't think that they were doing it. I was like, oh no, and I didn't judge them. It's just like, oh no, why don't you put an ad up? Why would you? But I also didn't understand people navigating addiction. I was young and dumb and didn't have the nuance of understanding everybody's certain circumstances, and so it was.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now, and the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional grade supplies for every industry, even hard to find products, and we have same day pickup and next day delivery on most orders. But most importantly,
back in the day. And so what you gonna do? Sometimes you gotta take that little $100 that somebody's offering you, 150. Sometimes you gotta hustle and just because you're just trying to get the bills paid. So what? You just trying to get to that. What if the rent is $620? You just trying to get to that $620. That's six. That's six clients for $100, and you just trying to get it. So that kind of hustle mentality didn't come until time got hard, and you're like, oh, I gotta switch this up. You feel what I'm saying? It's just what it was. You gotta get it. You gotta get it. And that's the hustle of the game. And I didn't understand that at the time when I was younger because I hadn't been in life situations where I needed to get it. It was just like, oh, this is beautiful. Money is coming. Money is coming. So, I was getting what I wanted. So, yeah.
So despite the fact that I had a genuine interest and talent, if I do say so myself, for dominating men, I never did get a good foothold in the kink community officially. This snobbish exclusivity did not exist among escorts. Many of them were women who, just like me, simply had the whole shit in them. Not long after I started posting ads and interacting on some of the boards, I was in regular communication with several women I shared clients with or I had chatted with in forums. These women were moms, they were students, they were orphans, they had disabilities, they were young professionals. Some of them were talking to their families and friends, they organized on behalf of sex worker rights. A lot of them kept this part of their lives a complete secret from everyone. A few of them, the ones who were some combination of white, thin, and able-bodied, made thousands of dollars per week traveling to luxurious destinations all around the world with designer bags on their arms. Others barely made enough to support themselves and their families, but had extenuating circumstances that made it difficult to secure other kinds of work. Most of us were somewhere in the middle. In good weeks, we might make our rent in a single day, but that might be followed by weeks without booking a single client. The common thread among us was that we were doing the best we could with what we had and trying to stay out of harm's way while we did it.
And so I want to talk about that. So my experience, one of the girls who really shifted the amount of money that I paid just by simply sharing information is Jade. TSJ, she was one of the first people that I met. We did at the time, it was our series. And if y'all remember my interview with T.S. Madison, she was like, the reason why she got on the internet is because of our video. She wouldn't even be on the internet. And so, Madison was responding to my interview with Jade. And one of the things about Jade, when I got, she is a hairstylist. She got her sex change and she got out of the game. Now she does, I think she's a hairstylist or a real estate agent. She's into something else. But yes, Jade. Jade was the first girl who, no strings attached, just let me know the traveling escort game. Here is a list of the newspapers in each of the cities. Here is here's the list. She gave me a list of because she kept a record of it. So she said, here's the list of the newspaper in the city. Here's their numbers. You just call them, and she had the pricing for it. They got this size of ads. This is 5x7 ads. This is a whole full page. This is how much this costs. This is how much this costs. And she literally had a list of everything for me to be able to find. And then she gave me a link just in case I needed to search for what papers was in that particular city. And she told me, like, not every single city, but like cities that at the time that I was like, ooh, I'm thinking about going to them. She gave me hotel recommendations where it was quality enough, but not super expensive, but it was quality to it. Because one thing about if you want to make good money as an escort, you have to have a good quality hotel. That don't mean high 5-star, 4-star. It don't need to be that, but it needs to be clean in a nice area. It could be a 3-4 star. You could be a 3 or 4 star, but it needs to be in an area that's decent. It can't be in the hood or somewhere ghetto that they think they're gonna get robbed. So she was giving me different hotel suggestions that weren't super expensive, but they were still nice. And so she did all of this stuff with just out of the kindness of her heart. It wasn't nothing to exchange. Like we was in our chat, we was in there cutting up and having fun, and I asked her the question, and she just gave me the game. Literally just gave me the game. This what you do, this what you do, with no strings attached. This is the information, girl. Get you out. And prior to her and this other girl named Josie.
This week only, get all Domino's menu price pizzas for 50% off when you order online. This is a limited time offer. Order now.
See, and Josie and Jade are the sex worker girls who really was like, here you go. And my coins was love. My coins was lovely. I went to New York, I went to DC, I went to, everywhere. Chicago, Atlanta, just different places. It wasn't everywhere. We're all around the country. LA, it was Phoenix, everywhere. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Making tons of money. It was beautiful. I lived for it. It was sickening. And I would not have made the money or had the courage. I was a little small town girl from fucking Indianapolis. I wouldn't have had the courage to go to these places and do what I needed to do and make money and get my body done and get my body right if I didn't have the information that Jane gave me. So I was grateful for her in regards to that. But because of the nature of the business, a lot of some bitches was really shady in regards to giving you information. Oh, I just talked about Jade and Josie. Another girl who really was sickening for me was my gay aunt. Her name is Maya. Maya's out of Chicago. She's from St. Louis, but she's out of Chicago. Maya, if Maya knew that I was going to a city, Maya will call some of her dates and be like, oh, my homegirl coming out there. Go spend some money with her. So I didn't even have to, I would have my ads up, but she'll give them my number. But what bitches do that? But Maya, because Maya wasn't in the game no more, she was like, what I'm holding on to clients but I know they got some money, and I know they like pretty trans girls. Shit, I'm like, girl, was coming to your city. I know you like the dogs, baby. I got a dog baby coming. I got a dog baby coming. I want you to go spend some sure good time. Sure good time, baby. Sure good time. And honey, I will come. This happened particularly in Memphis. I came to Memphis and I had a good clientele in Memphis because I lived at the time. I lived in Jackson. And honey, I would go to Memphis. I had a good clientele. But baby, when I told her I was in Memphis, I did have a good clientele, but she doubled it. I was like, oh shit, these motherfuckers that ain't even on the ads that I want. They on something else, or they just ain't independent no more. She got their direct number, and so and all she did, I was on freeway, and she was just saying, "Yo, I got a doll in the city. Go see my doll. I know you like the dolls." Honey, they came and spent their money, and it was love. So Maya, Jay, and Josie, they were the ones that put me up on game. And also the language of how not to get like how you supposed to move in the escort business so they cannot watch stuff that's supposed to. You is not ever supposed to say that you are doing this for this. You cannot come out your mouth and say, I am going to give you with this amount. You cannot say that. And when a person is trying to force you to say it, it's because they're a cop and they're trying to record you saying it. So if you constantly hold to your gun, even if they're a cop, they will end up leaving because you're not saying you're going to give them this or this. That's the illegal part. They have to record you saying it. So if you saying, yeah, baby, I'll show you a good time for that $100, or you saying something about giving them a service for the money, that is, you gonna take your ass to jail. And the only time I got busted with my brother is because I was in a financial bind, and did not follow my rules. I was so in need of the money, and I did not follow my rules. As soon as I didn't follow my rules, boom, they busted me and gave me a ticket for prostitution. And so for me, it, that was the lesson that they taught me. They was like, you will never get busted if you move like this, and it's not worth it. Don't if he gets to trying to make you say, am I gonna get some head for this $200? Am I gonna get this? And are we gonna do that? If he gets to talking about it and trying to force you to say it, that's a motherfucking cop. And if it's not a cop, he's too new. He's too dumb and too slow to be fucking for you to be fucking with. So if he's not a cop and he's talking like that, get out of here. You too new, too green, and I don't want you in here. Come see me anyway. Learn the game. If you don't know the game, then stop calling me. And you could start, and another thing you could start doing, you could say shit like that. Like, yo, you sound like you're a cop. Why are you asking me to have sex for money? That's illegal, sir.
My name is Sarah Sherman Samuel.
Hi, I'm Jake Arnold.
I'm Jean McDonald.
I'm Amy Parker. My name is Kali Krishnan.
And this is my collection.
And this is my collection.
And this is our collection.
And this is my collection. And this is my collection.
We're in Georgia.
What's going on here? You can give all of the, all of the things to pop them and get them in line. But if they keep pressuring you to try to get you to say it, then more than likely they're a cop. And you don't know how many times cops have called me after I done put them out of my house and called me and says, oh, we're going to bust her ass. You're going to stop doing the prostitution. We know what you're doing, but they couldn't get me because I didn't give them any. I didn't do nothing with them. They hated it. But yes. All right, let's continue.
We relied on one another for that. We used one another for client references, confirming that the men who reached out to us were who they said they were. We acted as one another's safety contact, the person who receives information on where you are, whom you're with, and how long you should be there when we couldn't tell our friends and families what we did for a living. We shared which hotels were provider friendly and which ones kept track of traffic. We used whisper networks to warn other girls about law enforcement things, scammers, and predators to avoid. We had health brunches just to vent and fellowship with one another. Some of these women are still friends of mine. Some of them are still sex workers, keeping me abreast of how women are navigating an already delicate industry with a pandemic and stricter rules and online advertising. These women gave me my education in sex work best practices. It's because of their wisdom that I never again overheard my They taught me how to build my brand and market myself, which was super important as a plus size provider, and how to retain clients and build a base of regulars. The secret sauce is to take the time to get to know your clients and invest in making them think that you would fuck them for free. We swap tricks on how to maximize our time with clients, prolong foreplay, and control their orgasm so they'll want to stay longer or spend more money. And get rid of the ones who are annoying. Set your phone alarm so that it sounds like your ringtone and make an emergency. Makeup tips, period sex, Bitcoin, hosts taught me all of that. But most important, they taught me how to really step into my confidence and stand on a foundation of self-preservation and personal progress. Sex work is where I saw in real time so much of the Black queer, feminist, body, gender, and sexuality theory I had studied and acted in real life. I really started to understand desirability politics as a product of access and socialization. For example, most of my clients were professional white men in their 40s and 50s. Their opportunities to engage with fat Black women at their Ivy League schools, their corporate jobs, or their mostly white neighborhoods were slim or none. I was able to deduce from their interactions with me that the reason there's a widely held belief that people aren't attracted to fat Black women is because fat Black women do not fit into the imagined normative lifestyle of these privileged men. We simply do not exist in their world. People engage with their desires only as much as their lives and communities allow them to. Even within our intimate relationships, many of us are performing gender, sexuality, and desire in the ways that are expected of us, not in ways that reflect the full spectrum of our sexual interests. Contrary to what people think about men who patronize sex workers, they're not desperate freaks who can't get sex anywhere else. They're men who want to have sex that they have to go somewhere else, literally and figuratively, to get. They're looking for specific experiences that meet their specific needs, experiences that allow them to explore those fringe corners of their desires. Providers offer them the space and chance to tap into those parts of their sexuality that they're not able to express in their everyday lives. We fill holes that would have gone untended to otherwise, holes that aren't always explicitly sexual. While sex work is often reduced to sucking and fucking, sex workers also do a ton of emotional and mental labor for clients.
Yes.
Desire, romance, and intimacy are holistic experiences and not skinny. I've had clients who never even saw me fully nude because they were interested in an erotic experience that wasn't limited to penetration. Many of my clients simply wanted to relish a lack of control. Side note, I really miss being mean to white men for money. They need it now more than ever. Any cash pays listening to this? How about me, you piece of shit?
Period.
It was my job to get to know my clients, to understand what they needed, even when they didn't. To ensure that I was embodying a body positive lens to make room for clients with different body types and abilities. I had to be detail oriented and listen. I had to trust my gut. I learned for the first time how fulfilling it could be to act in the service of someone else. The better I got at this, the more fulfilling the work was for me. It probably sounds weird, but being a hoe pushed me to be a better person and a better partner in general. Every envelope of cash was an affirmation of what I had to offer the world. Most important though, I understood that having romantic access to me is a privilege, a luxury even. Freed from the respectability politics that supported this line of thinking, I was able to rethink my own value in my dating life, which I'll talk more about in a later chapter. Yes, sex work is a threat to capitalism because of the financial autonomy it offers in a system that relies on disenfranchised folks as a labor force. But it also poses a threat to the established power dynamic that tends to work against Black femmes in romantic contexts. We are indoctrinated to think that our time, bodies, and energy are worth only as much as our partners say they are. We're taught that the only outcomes we should expect for sharing these parts of ourselves is the companionship of someone else. Hoes know better than that. We know that it takes real work to satisfy someone else's needs. Work that has material value. When critics try to insult female rappers by comparing them to sex workers, like when during the Love and Hip Hop reunion episode, Peter Gunn said that if a woman wants to be treated to cash or gifts before agreeing to have sex, she's prostituting herself, they're underestimating the inherent power that sex workers possess. Self-determination. That's why new spitters like Sukiana lean into their hoism. That's why, despite these critiques, so many female rappers still insist that anyone who wants to fuck them is going to have to pay the tax. There are a few things that make me feel as empowered as I do when I'm listening to a black woman talk about how expensive her pussy is.
Would you be with a cop as a client, or is that too risky? It is not too risky. I have had many, many cops as clients. It's okay to be with a cop because they also know what not to ask you. Like, a cop coming to see you, they're risking it just like you risking it. So a client who know the game ain't coming in asking you about what they getting for their money. They know what this is about. We know what we doing. And most of the time you done talked about what you do and don't do in your ad. And so you ain't gotta ask no questions. You come with my money, put the money on the table. You ain't even gotta hand it to me in my hand and get naked. And you know what I'm saying? It's just a certain level of directness. We ain't gotta do too much talking until the shit gets started. And once you get started, you know that this is not no cop. Because if it was a sting, they will already be knocking on the door. Do you get what I'm saying?
Cut it out.
I don't need a cop, but a client, not a client, a cop that's trying to sting you is going to be, you got to understand, they're trying to sting you so they can have evidence in court. You know what I'm saying? That this is the evidence. The evidence is they're recorded. They got their phone on. They're recording. Somebody is listening to them in there with you. And they have to get you to say that because they need the evidence or to prove that you was prostituting in court. Do you see what I'm saying? So they need this. So two things I never did. I never go to no motherfucker's hotel, because if it's a cop, they will be recording inside the hotel. So you got to come to me. I'm not coming to you. Also, if I come to you, you're gonna come to if I come to you, you're gonna be in like a 5-star, 4-star hotel, because those level of hotels are not gonna have cop stings in them. So like if you go to a Days Inn, yeah, the cops can perform. The cops can have a hotel and afford to have a hotel on the cops' budget at the Days Inn, but they're not going to be at the Fairmont. They're not going to be at the fucking at the Conrad, or some high 5-star, 4-star hotel. They can't afford that. And the people the people who run the hotel are not letting them do things at their hotel. And so, yeah, I'll come to see you if you at a 5-star. I'll come to see you if you at a 4-star. I think, the lowest I'm going to go is like 4. But I just know that the cops is not going to be there. The cops is going to be at the fucking Days Inn, the La Quinta, $50, $50 a night hotel, Motel 6. They're going to be at that kind of stuff. So you won't go there. So yeah, it's just rules that you gotta follow because you know how the system works. And as clients teach you how the system works. I remember I had a cop in Mississippi that I would see, and he would say, "Hey, save these numbers in your phone. These are the undercover cops. Save them in your phone. When they call you, know that they're trying to bust you." Because he was a fucking cop and he knew the numbers. And so they would call me and I would know that they were fucking cops trying to play, trying to sting you. Because he would let me know that they're busting everybody, not just me, but everybody. He was like, so you gotta be careful here. So I would save the numbers in my phone. Because That's just what it was. So, what else? What else? What else? What else? I'm texting now.
Go away.
Who is escorting in Tampa? Yeah, I don't know nothing about the escort business now because of SESTA and the rules around FOSTA and SESTA. You know, it just has changed the game. I don't even know where the folks are advertising at no more. Where the folks advertising at? I know Eero still exists, right? But I know Craigslist doesn't, Backpage doesn't. Let me see. Yeah, that's still up. That's still up, baby. Eero said, baby, y'all not taking us down. Did they move to another country? I think that's what a lot of the websites did. They moved to another country. All the websites are based out of the UK. Yeah, so that's what it is. They own that bootleg site, Skip the Games. Is the law. Let me give you.
Move.
There you go. Give you some history about the laws. So, in general, the excuse was to cut down sex trafficking and make it illegal to knowingly assist, facilitate, and support sex trafficking. And so what happened, what that means is online services would be getting implemented in these cases, in these sex trafficking cases, for allowing people to put ads and shit. And so what they started doing when they made this law go into effect, it basically in 2000 and they started when it went into effect, it got signed into law in 2018. But they started like stopping it. I remember around 2009, 2008, 2009. It hadn't passed, but it started to be shopped around. And so the site started to do little different stuff to make them less liable. I think you can use a VIPN to bypass the country's restrictions. Yes, you can. So they moved their base out to the UK or other countries so they can not have to worry about it. And so for example, Craigslist, they start making it start getting fucking weird, and it was annoying. They start making it to where the community can flag each other. It used to didn't be like that. The community can flag each other And so girls was flagging everybody. Everybody was flagging everybody. It was going down. So your ad, as soon as you put your ad up, that motherfucker's going down because girls is flagging it. It just was a shit show. Wasn't nobody making no fucking money. You had to put your ad up at a certain time of night when you thought people was sleeping. It was so annoying at that time for sex work. But yeah, they shut down a lot of sites because the owners were getting indicted in certain cases and blah, 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 blah. So that just changed the game. And so people start using Bitcoin because they couldn't they couldn't accept credit cards. So they started using Bitcoins as payments, and it just started to be weird. That's when it got really weird for me. Just for the idea of doing that. But yeah. I got out of the game in 2009 because it just wasn't like it was. You could still have some good tricks, but it just wasn't popping in the way that it was when I first started. And so it started to not be worth it. And then at that time, I was in school and it was just a whole different game for me. So it just stopped being worth it. And so I got out formally. I still return a trick to this day, but formally. They let OnlyFans pop off. OnlyFans started popping after the pandemic. When people started losing jobs and the shit shut down, OnlyFans started pumping. People was needing a way to make money.
They might not have websites created to lure a certain clientele, but their Instagram accounts work just as well, and I'm sure the DMs are booming. It's important that I talk about my stint as a sex worker, a positive, autonomous experience that helped me stay afloat financially for a number of years before I had a viable career.
You do.
Because that's not the narrative we typically get about sex workers, especially black women. The media wants you to believe that sex work is seedy. Themes of desperation, force, trafficking, and violence are recycled there, depicting a shadowy underground that snatches souls and never returns them. A lot of rappers want us to believe that sex work is sexy. Neither is the definitive truth, but it can be both. It doesn't matter if we're not hearing about the experiences of sex workers, good or bad, from those in the field. Sex work shouldn't be co-opted for shocking headlines or catchy bars. I've heard horror stories of providers being robbed and raped. Trans women who are pushed into survival sex work are at an even higher risk of violence. It cannot be understated how epidemics like gender-based violence, homophobia, transphobia, and addiction, just to name a few, collide with income inequality and lead women to pursue sex work. I also understand that there is a completely different sector of the industry in which women and girls are coerced into prostitution by other people. I'm particularly sensitive to this reality because a decade before I was making money as a sex worker, I was almost one of those girls. When I was 14, a close friend of the family, let's call him D, asked me if I was a virgin. We just pulled into a parking lot near the project that operated as his stomping ground. As we drove past crackheads and corner boys, D slowed the car down and turned 8-Ball and MJG's Mr. Big up to its maximum volume. He was clearly feeling himself as he drove a car that wasn't his through the narrow streets leading into one of the Chicago housing complexes that have since been torn down. But before he had inquired about my sexual activity, he turned the car off and the radio all the way down. I knew this was not passing curiosity of an adult trying to offer support or guidance. It was a pitch. Before I could even answer, he continued with a spiel about how I could and should be getting money from these niggas if I was going to deal with him at all. He and I were spending more time together than usual, which is what led to this fly proposition in the car. He would sometimes try to impress me with gifts or stories about how much money he had. On other occasions, I would ride along with him on random trips. He didn't have a job, so they were indeed random.
That's the author.
But sometimes we would stop to hang out at the homes of his friends.
And that's her voice. She's the one who reading her own book.
He asked me in front of all of his old-ass cronies if I had brushed my teeth that day. It was a weird question, but before I could respond, he grabbed my face, pulled it close to his, and ran his tongue across my front teeth. I was disgusted and made that very clear as I pulled away. He just laughed and sent me back into another room, giving a knowing look to his friends. Even at that age, the idea of prostitution wasn't foreign to me. I knew that there were some women who were willing to have sex with men for money. I also knew there were pimps, men who made money off those women. These dynamics showed up in the music I listened to and some of the series and movies I watched. Pimp culture is also extremely prominent in the Midwest, especially in places like Chicago and Detroit. But whenever I witnessed this culture, it was explicitly named. Words like prostitution, hooker, and turning tricks seemed to draw a line in the sand that defined what hoeing was and was not. They were labels that identified a group of women who had been written off as shameful and immoral. He was giving me creep vibes for sure, but he hadn't used any of those terms or described those dynamics. I brushed him off after his speech in the car because by the time I was 14, I already felt a sense of ownership over my own sexuality. Involving D or any other adult in it just wasn't appealing to me. But it definitely wasn't because I realized exactly what he was up to. D was trying to turn me out, slowly but surely. With all of the gifts, the stories about how much money he supposedly had, the unsolicited questions and advice he had about my sex life, and the time he suddenly wanted us to spend together, he was grooming me. He already thought of himself as a pimp.
That's the book.
He just needed a woman at his behest to complete that fantasy. When he stuck his tongue into my mouth in front of those other men, invading my personal space and my body, he was trying to give them the impression that he had power over my body, even though he didn't. If he had his way, some of those same men would have paid him for a chance to do more than check my teeth. The only reason it stopped was because not long after these incidents, I went to live with my grandparents and Dee went to prison. I don't know how far things would have gone if there hadn't been physical distance put between us. I know hindsight is 20/20, but if I knew then what I know now, I would have bitten his fucking tongue off. When I hear news stories about underage girls being trafficked, I know exactly how easy it is. Had Dee been an older dude from the neighborhood whom I had a crush on, a neighbor I was creeping around with, or someone I felt closer to, I could have easily been turned out. If I had had a boyfriend who told me this was what he wanted me to do for him, I can see how my 14-year-old brain could have found ways to justify it. Had I been one of those 14-year-old girls who are treated like surrogate heads of their households and feel an obligation to make some money for their families and not just for a new purse, Dee's proposition could have sounded like music to my ears. While it may seem easy to identify pimps when they're dressed like Bishop Don Juan and hoes when their asses are jutting out from the sides of cars on the street, it looks different for young girls who get caught up in the game. It looks like an abusive boyfriend, expectations from older family members, or being a down-ass bitch riding for the rich older guy you're dating.
Clock. If you got a nigga that's home every day, not bringing no money in, you going to work or you turning tricks, and he home in he laying in your house in your bed eating your food, playing video games, you the trick, baby. You the client.
Introducing Euro Outdoor 7. Wi-Fi beyond your walls.
Every bottle of McCormick is flavor sealed. For fresh flavor, everyone notices.
Bringing nothing to the table. You a trip. And if he having you sleep with people for money, you getting pimped, baby. I've just never been in that situation. I'm too arrogant, if I'm to be honest. My pride and my arrogance is too deep for me to be sitting around the house and letting the nigga do nothing. I can't do it. I can't get no nigga my money. Where they do that at? Not over here. I can't be. In order for me to give you some coins and you my man, You have to have already been given me points. You have to have already been proving yourself as a down ass provider dude. If you ain't did that, baby, you ain't getting no money from me at all. Ever. You just not.
These stories of exploitation, violence, and despondency are often used as justification for the criminalization of sex work. In case you're one of those people, I'm here to tell you why you're way off base. First and foremost, let's get on the same page that consensual sex work is not the same thing as sex trafficking. It's like the difference between consensual sex and rape. Sex work involves consenting parties negotiating the terms under which they engage in sex. Trafficked individuals cannot give consent because they're acting under the authoritarian rule of someone else. Trying to combat sex trafficking by criminalizing the entire sex trade is like trying to regulate sex in order to prevent rape. Industries like agriculture and domestic work are also hotspots for trafficking, but there haven't been any attempts to ban hiring migrant workers or live-in housekeepers. Those sectors are allowed to exist, and there are rules, laws, and task forces in place to help curb those who would take advantage of workers. The most present danger that sex workers navigate is law enforcement. We have to figure out ways to advertise, screen clients, and serve clients without drawing the attention of the police or walking into a sting. If crimes are committed against us while we're working, we put our own freedom at risk in the pursuit of justice. Dirty cops are among the predators we may encounter.
Period.
On top of all that, the economic consequences of entering the criminal justice system makes it more likely that we will have to continue to pursue sex work, which was the case for me after my arrest. Decriminalizing sex work would make it safer for sex workers to do their jobs and easier to fight trafficking. This hasn't happened because not only are we still tied to conservative attitudes about the circumstances under which people have sex, but also because people refuse to acknowledge that sex work is real work. The bottom line for all sex workers is the dollar. Sex work can be dangerous, but so can construction. People can exploit it like they can anything else. For many sex workers, they would be doing something else if they had the choice, and I think a bunch of Walmart employees would say the same thing. People are drawn to this underground economy in a system that doesn't provide nearly enough help or resources to those who need it most. Rather than address the issues that make sex work a viable option for so many, like a livable wage and reliable protection against gender-based violence and homophobia, we've continued to put an already vulnerable workforce even more at risk. And still, sex work is alive and well. It still offers women the opportunity for financial freedom and personal growth. The internet gave sex workers more than access to a global community and a means to express themselves and raise awareness. It also gave them even more ways to make money. Sex work is still forcing us to reconsider our assumptions about different bodies and forms of sexual expression. It's also still hiding in plain sight via the sex we have every day outside the official bounds of the industry. I am not suggesting that this is the only means of accomplishing any of the above, but it's a model that should be taken more seriously for sure. I'm not saying that everyone should go out and get their hoe credentials, but I don't think it's a terrible idea to consider how much hoe shit is already in you.
Bam. So that's the end. That's the end of the sell it chapter. So, yeah, I think that for me, it's for how I think about sex work now. It is just a tool in my toolbox. It is something. It's a tool in my toolbox. It's a tool that I can hustle and make some money real quick. It is a tool that I can use as a defense mechanism against a dude who I'm not for sure of his intentions. Let me give you an example. When I was younger, I'll hook up with a dude, and this nigga's telling me the sun, moon, and stars because he fine, and I'm looking for love, and I'm trying to be classy, and I'm trying to be da 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 da. Not classy, but I'm trying to be a good girl. And he's selling me the sun, moon, and stars, and I'm giving him something he can.
Join Planet Fitness today and save. Just $1 down, $15 a month.
Wheeling, somersaulting, riding, Megan knees riding. I'm doing all the stuff to make him feel good. All the stuff free. And I remember all I'm getting out of this situation at the end, when it's revealed that he ain't shit, is a wet ass. And at that time, this is when I was young, y'all, not in my 20s, but like teenagers, early 20s. But definitely, I remember I was hooking up with this dude named Dennis, and I remember this moment because it was just a trigger. Sometimes shit in my brain will just switch, and I'll never think like I did before the switch. And this is one moment. So I met Dennis through my gay best friend Mario. And Dennis lived in my hood. He was maybe like 5 years younger. So I was like 26 and he was like 21. And so I met him through him. And when we saw each other, we were each other's type. Dennis was tall, chocolate, he was like 6'3" and huge ass dick. And he was everything. And he came to see me and we hooked up and it was fire. Stevie. I would literally have to masturbate when he left. All because I'm trying to keep this image of femininity. He knew my tea, but he wouldn't be doing nothing for me. Like he wouldn't be doing anything for my physical pleasure. Like I'm sucking his dick, he fucking me. Nothing about how. Not saying that I didn't like getting fucked, but I'm not blessed like some of these other folks where they can get fucked and they nut. I ain't that person. My asshole ain't that. I done did it to people and I done seen people do it. But for me and my body, how my body is, I can't nut from somebody. Kind of my case. Does it feel cool? Does it feel love? Yes, I like it. But I am a first girl. For me to nut, you have to engage with my penis. So, I remember like stop this, like shit got multiple. I done touched his piece so long because I'm protecting his dick from my teeth. My teeth done ate into my lips, and so my lips are tender because I've been covering up my teeth, so it's not breaking on his dick. That's how all night fucking long. And I didn't get that damn one of a nut. And in that moment, when he left my house, I had to masturbate to get a nut. And I was like, I am never going to hook up with a dude without getting a nut after this. And from that moment, unless they were paying me, I'm not doing it. And so I would use money to make up for whether or not I'm going to get some pleasure or not. Or to make up for if this doesn't turn out how I want it to turn out. Like if you're selling me the sun, moon, and stars like we might be in a relationship together and it doesn't work out because you're just selling me the sun, moon, and stars because you're trying to fuck. Once we fuck and you keep coming back just for sex, at least if I got some money through the situation, I got some of my rent paid. I got my light bills paid. I got something that I could show for it. What felt bad was when I didn't have nothing to show for it. If you're watching, make sure you thumbs up. What felt bad to me was that, man, I ain't got nothing to show for this. And so charging money became the defense mechanism for me. It made it okay. It's like, okay, well, at least I got some rent out of this. At least I got some bills out of this. I ain't just got a wet ass. That's when it was felt like, oh, I didn't get nothing. I didn't even get sexual pleasure out of this. It just was me. My body was being used. And so sex work became a tool of a defense mechanism from that field. the feeling of being used, the feeling, even if somebody paying you, they use you, but I'm getting, it's a transaction. It doesn't feel like fair exchange, ain't no rivalry. If I say I want this and you want this and we do that don't feel like I'm being used. That feels like a transaction, like a fair transaction. I'm setting the terms, you meeting the terms, we do our thing. But if I think that this is going to be something else and it doesn't, then I feel like I done got played. So for me, it's the tool that I can use to be able.
Rock the Universe features Christian artists Brandon Lake, Forrest Frank, Bethel Music, Matthew West, Friend Collective, and more. It's Florida's biggest Christian music festival, January 24th and 25th at Universal Orlando.
Girl, stop.
Buy tickets at rocktheuniverse.com.
Girl, why?
I also, I feel like sometimes, bitch, I'm bored. Sometimes I'll have one of my clients that I've been seeing for years. He's like, yo, I'm by the Galleria. Yo, I see you in my city. Come holler at me. Can I come holler at you? I got some money for you. Da 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 da. I ain't doing nothing. Why would I not take this money? So sometimes it's just, oh, ain't nothing going on. So why wouldn't he got some money for me? Why wouldn't I take the money? Single, not doing nothing. Come bring me that $300. Come bring me that whatever you got in regards to what you're trying to do. Let's see, let's see where this goes. So that's how I use it now. Back in the day, I ain't even talking about it. When I was in the business of escorting, oh God, I ain't going to no dates. I ain't talking on the phone. I ain't doing nothing. You got some money for me, baby? It was a hustle. It was like nobody get no play. But that requires talking on the phone with clients and just having calls all hours of the night from tricks. And it just was, I remember one time I had stopped escorting in '09, and I think that probably like in 2000, maybe like 15 or 16, I was like, oh, I'm traveling. I know I'm going to the city. Let me put up an ad real quick to see if I can make some money while I'm here. Even though I hadn't been an escort, let me see if I can make some money. Baby, do you know how I was over it taking them calls? Just the idea of picking up the phone and negotiating, talking about where you located, what's your rates, how many roses. Ugh. Oh my God. I was so annoyed by the conversation. I was so annoyed by, just everything that was happening. I was like, oh, I done grew out of this. Because I used to be able to do it with so much ease. It used to be like nothing for me to have a conversation with somebody. I could be cooking. I could be doing so much, but I was so annoyed in this moment. I was like, oh, I done got rusty because I'm annoyed by the conversation. And I'm getting an attitude with these motherfuckers because they're offering money that ain't good, or they're asking me questions over and over, which is so common, but I just didn't have the patience for it like I used to. But yeah. But all right. That is Cicely Bowman's, her book called Bad Fat Black Girl, Notes from a Trapped Feminist. Y'all want to do another chapter or what? Y'all ready to go? Because it is 11. I don't think we're going to finish this chapter before 12. All right, so we'll go to. All right, because her chapters aren't really, really long. All right, so we'll go to the next one, which is called Not
Straight.
Not Straight.
Came with my niggas and left with a baddie. Dreamed on. My mama took me to my first Pride celebration when I was around 15, but she refused to tell me what it was. We're going to a picnic, she said, exasperated. Whenever I asked her,
Girl, what are you doing?
Oh, Spara. Haha. Huh.
Whippa yams! Whippa yams!
What you doing?
Eba.
What you doing? I see you. What you doing? My cats are adorable.
Oh. Nasi made pafarble.
Who can I get? Narfa. Oh, Nulu. Skiba. Per Brinka Shalbo.
Noi. Press.
Oh.
Russia.
Vula Shaka.
Argo Vidya.
The toy.
So. Shot. Oh.
All right, I'm going to bed. Have a good night. I will see y'all tomorrow. Have a good day at work/school.